Good day and welcome to Inside News, our Wednesday show. Jour du Galop, myself and Shaheel, we're going to talk about the last meeting, a couple of our horses to follow, and then obviously we're going to talk about some barrier trials and our training, and there was a gallop as well. We'll touch on that as well. Let's talk about Saturday, the feature race, Wall Tag. Got to say, a very, very impressive win once again. This was really has changed in 2019. You just have to look at his form this season. He's had the 7 runs, 5 wins, 2 seconds, and unbelievable. He just keeps on climbing, and it's really, really done well. In fact, that win on Saturday was so impressive, Shaheel. I was calling the race, and it was quite an easy race to call because you could just see as he turned in the straight, no one was going to catch him, and very, very impressive win from Wall Tag. And those 2 horses of Vincent Allen's have really done well this year, Cool at Heart and Wall Tag. And it takes me back to Richard Mullen when he told me there's 2 top horses in the stable. It took them a year, but they really are doing well. And Wall Tag, very, very impressive win. I see he's nominated on Saturday again. Do you think he's going to run? I would imagine he's going to if they put him in.
Yeah, I guess he was going to run. He's a gutsy little horse, like you said. He was coming off a little break, which done him a lot of good. He was at Florian. Raviawa did a great job there. He was back on Tuesday morning. Did mention him last week on Jour du Galop. Was looking great. I believe the 56.5 kg helped him a lot because, like you said, when Derek David made that early move, he turned in the stretch, taking the first run on his opponent, and that was it. The race was in the bag.
Yeah, well, let's look at Saturday's race. He's only going to be carrying 54.5 on Saturday, but it is quite a tough race. He's taking on Rule the Night.
Rule the Night, the likes of Baritone, Table Bay, so a real test for him.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be quite an exciting feature race on Saturday. Let's talk about our friend, Blow in the Box. Finally got it all together. I suppose, like we said, the change of stable.
Yeah, the tongue tie
as well. A couple of different tricks with him, but eventually got to win a nice race, Blow in the Box. I've always thought he's a little bit better than what he's been showing us.
Yeah.
And well, I thought Cedric rode him brilliantly.
Yeah.
I thought Cedric,
he waited for that
inside run. Yeah. And a terrific ride by Cedric. There's not many jockeys that know the track as well as Cedric Sejon, and nice to see him bounce back with a winner from the Jean-Michel Henry stable. Another ride that really impressed me was Manuel Nunes on Mutsi.
Yeah.
Sat last the whole way, pulled him out, and he really came and won a good race. And Mutsi is one of those horses that you can never write him off. He's got ability. He's just lost his form a little bit, but he really came back nicely on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. I remember early on in the season, I think he was one of my 2 to follows. He never confirmed that run again. Yeah. And then Saturday, he just exploded out again. That finish he showed against Virtue was phenomenal. Yeah,
it just proves you can't leave Manuel Nunes in the Herchon stable out of your pick 8.
Anyway.
Thousands and thousands of tickets went missing after Mutsi won, and including mine. But anyway, well done to Manuel Nunes. Roman Dancer, I think he was our banker. He won a good race. I think he's a lot better than what...
he's a decent horse, yeah.
Yeah, he's above average.
Like we said, he only had to beat the draw, and Olivier Placé gave him a great ride just after the break. So tough
he
ride
had a tough race as well, Shaheel. I thought he had quite a tough race, but he went on to win a good race. I don't think he's going to stop here this race. In South Africa, he won as a 2-year-old, hence arriving in off such a low rating.
Yeah.
And
he's won 2 races in South Africa in 4 starts.
Exactly, as a 2-year-old, he won 2 races, and he's won 1 now, and I think he's been pretty unlucky before
with the draws.
With the draws, so it looks like he's going to go on to be a little bit better than what we think. Okay, let's talk about Daryl Holland. A lot of controversy this weekend, but it looks like he will be taking his suspension the next 2 meetings, so we won't be seeing any of Daryl Holland for the next 2 weeks. And then Derek David, he got 2 weeks with Wall Tag. He caused interference with Wall Tag, so he's going to be sidelined. Well, I suppose he will be riding this week. He's probably going to
ride Wall Tag again,
or what he's going to do. But Wall Tag's in, and obviously that is a bit of a knock to his championship hopes. Manuel Nunes, in my opinion, is going to be hard to beat.
Hard to catch too. He's already got a hefty lead. I think
3 winners clear. I think his biggest challenge will probably be from Naresh Jagla.
Yes.
He's ridden 7 winners in the last 3 meetings.
Yeah, even
and the stable's starting to really.
Even Flying Arrow was a nice ride. I thought when I was watching the race, I thought Flying Arrow was going too quick, but then again, he gave him a braver in the backstretch, and he kicked on nicely again, which was a surprise.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was Saturday's racing. Well, we're not completely finished. We're going to talk about our 2 to follow. The horse that I want to talk about is Big Mistake. Talking about Manuel Nunes and the Hergen stable. Big Mistake. When I arrived in the course, it was kind of a lot of whispers about this horse putting on in a good performance, and there was a terrific run. if you have a look at his last 3 runs, he's actually, well, his first 3 runs in Mauritius, I beg your pardon, they've been on some good horses like Barrack Street, Rule the Night, and now Wall Tag. And he's obviously a decent horse. He jumped from the worst of draws, and he raced 3 wide the whole way up that first turn. And you know, that's very, very difficult to come back from there. He was never really covered. But I thought Manuel Nunes sort of, he tracked Waltag beautifully in the straight, but obviously Waltag was just too good for him in the end and pulled away from him. And but his form line suggests that he should win soon, and hopefully he pulls a better draw this horse. And I think we will see him back into the winner's box soon. Not back, in the winner's box soon. And this was, the stable's in red hot form. Manuel Nunes is in red hot form as well. I reckon he's the champion to lift the jockey's title, and a horse like Big Mistake can obviously help him to do that as well. But Big Mistake, maybe a better draw next time in the 1400. I think he'll be a tough horse to beat, and he should take quite a lot of beating. Well, Big Mistake. Shaheel, the horse that you liked him on Friday. You ran a much better race, Al Sakra.
Yeah, that's right. He was one of my value bets. In fact, the 2 of my value bets, Titsikama Dance on him, both ran second, which is a bit unlucky for me. Yeah, coming back to Al Sakra, he was drawn 1, and he pretty much had a dream run on the fence. He kicked on really nicely to finish second to blow in the box, who found that inside gap and just flew home. I believe he's now starting to find his feet, Al Sakra. His first run, he definitely needed that run. His second run probably had suffered from that second run syndrome after a long rest, because he was off for at least 1 year. And now his third run, he's run such a big race. He's a powerful front runner back in South Africa. He does have some excellent South African form. I believe next time out, if he can find the lead, I do believe Al Sakra is definitely one to follow for the future.
Yeah, and I do agree with you as well about Titsikama Dance. Also, a horse that I put in, I've sort of really rated him, and he really took off last time. And obviously, like we said, we thought the 1600 would be in his favour, but I think he's also another horse that we don't have 3 to follow, but if we did, he would definitely be Titsikama Dance. I rate that horse, and I think he's going to be okay. He'll probably win his next start, Titsikama Dance. All right, that's our 2 to follow, or 3 to follow. We're mentioning Titsikama Dance as well, but keep an eye on those horses in the future. I think they could quite easily pick up wins in their next start. Right, there were 4 barrier trials that we want to talk about. We're going to talk about all 4 of them. I'm going to start off with the first barrier trial. In Your Dreams with the green jacket, Herchon Stable. He's being repassed. Well Connected. Yellow jacket, Simon Jones, another repass. And then Mark Tapley. He's from the Vincent Elliott stable. He's a blue jacket, and he's a new horse. Let's start with In Your Dreams. Well, after playing up last time, he was ordered to repass, and happy to report that he jumped pretty well. He stood quietly as well. All 3 wins have been from the front, so it's important for this horse to jump well. Like I said, if you go back and have a look, all 3 of his wins have been from the front. Last time he had his head to the side, playing up in the stalls, and he missed that break. And it wasn't a bad run. I think he ran 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, 3rd or 4th. And but he's a horse that likes to be right up there. You can see in the barrier trial he showed a lot of speed, and he ended up winning this barrier. Let's hope he's going to be a good boy in the future and jump on terms. Well Connected, Simon Jones, another horse just like In Your Dreams, hopelessly blew the start last time. In fact, it looked like he refused to jump, and well, nice to see him jump on terms as well, because I think he's a nice horse, and Simon Jones needs this horse to jump on terms, because I think he's a horse that he's quite a good asset for the stable. Well Connected, I think he's run 2nd to Titsikama Dance back in South Africa. He's 20 points lower than Titsikama Dance in the rating, so he must be a decent horse. And I remember seeing Simon early on. He says he thinks that this horse is just going to need that first run, but he rates him. So let's see how he goes. Let's hope he jumps next time. Like I said, Simon Jones desperately needs a horse like this to be jumping on terms. And then Mark Tapley, probably the best named horse in Mauritius, Mark. He's a one-time winner. He ran a couple of decent races towards the end of his career, but I have to say not the strongest of form. So let's see how he goes. I'd like to see him run before I can sort of judge Mark Tapley, but not the best form in South Africa, although he is a one-time winner. We'll see how he goes for the Vincent Elliott stable. They really are doing well. They're having a great season, and hopefully this horse can help them as well. All right, that was the first barrier. Shaheel, you want to talk about the second barrier?
Yeah, with 3 horses head of the pack, avec, which was a repass from the Nagadu stable with a yellow jacket. King's Story from the Jean-Michel Henry stable, and then we had a 1-for-1 from the Rameshwar stable with a red jacket. Head of the pack, he jumped a lot better yesterday morning, and he showed some good pace. He was asked to stretch in the final stretch, and he galloped on nicely to win this trial. He's a one-time winner in 15 starts back in South Africa. He won his maiden in the Work Riders Plate. His key form is actually not that bad because he's run against some good horses, the likes of Arabian Air, Red Rascal, or even Earl of Warwick. So he's a promising horse, head of the pack. King's Story, he was tried with the blinkers, and he did jump nicely with that equipment. He didn't show much on debut when he ran 6th to Captain Gone Wild 1 month ago. He's a one-time winner in South Africa. He's won over 1,400 meters, and most of the time he's run over that distance. He should improve with the blinkers, King's Story. And then 1-for-1, unfortunately, that was a disappointing trial with him. He didn't jump out on terms with the others. He never made up any ground on them. He's a worry for the Rameshwar stable. He's had 4 starts last year. On all 4 occasions, he refused to jump. Last time was on International Day with Robbie Fred. I guess it's back to the drawing board with him.
Yeah, don't know how much time they got with him. They're running out of time with 1-for-1. He's refusing to jump, so it might not be that. Like I said, I don't think they got a lot of time to get him ready. Well, right. Okay, the third barrier trial of the morning was once again 4 horses. The Jazz Singer, Falkland, Fairbanks, Mr. Bombastic, the Jazz Singer from the Hirchand stable. He had the green, blinkers first time. Some lovely form for this horse in South Africa for this new inmate of the Hirchand stable. 4 runs, placed in all 4 of those starts. His last start was over 1,600 when he ran second to the Grey Crusader, and we've seen the Grey Crusader put up a very good gallop last time. So, and obviously he's a little bit lower rated. He's only rated 26, so he'll probably do well in those sort of longer distance races, especially in the benchmark of 26, where it's not that strong. So the Jazz Singer, some very nice work that he's put up, and he's worthwhile following. Falkland, well, he's been disappointing since arriving in Mauritius. In fact, last time he was ordered to, well, not ordered, he was suspended by the stewards for they just weren't happy with his performance, and he put up a much better gallop on yesterday morning. Let's hope he's over all his sort of problems that he's shown us. And then Fairbank from the Vinton Allett stable, blinkers. This is his second barrier trial. Looks like he's improved quite a bit as well, and although he's not won in South Africa, he did come close a couple of times. He's only rated 26, and looks like he's got some room for improvement. And then Mr. Bombastic, just like 1-for-1, jumped very, very slow. Daryl Holland didn't really persist with him, and well, he's probably going to have to be reschooled and repassed. Remember last time he was scratched when he reared up badly in the stalls. He injured Daryl Holland. So another problem also at the stalls. But we all know how good these handlers are, and I'm sure they'll manage to get the better of Mr. Bombastic. I'm sure Ricky Mangard must be pulling his hair out to get this horse to stand and jump quietly. So let's see how he goes, Mr. Bombastic. But at the end of the day, the Jazz Singer, there was a nice barrier trial from him. He impressed me. He's a horse that I've put into my little black book. Right, the fourth and final barrier, Shaheel, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we've seen all guests, a newcomer from the Gilbert Rousset stable with a green jacket, Carlos Mamba from the Patrick Mervin stable with a red jacket, Daredevil Aviator from the Jean-Michel with the blue, and Sandy Sport, a repass from the Alain Pedro with the yellow jacket. Senol's guest is a newcomer, he's still a maiden. He's had 7 starts in South Africa for 2 places. He came close to winning when he was odds-on favorite in a Work Riders Plate. He lost that race by only a quarter of a length, over 1,600 meters. That was a really nice trial from him yesterday morning for the son of Judd Bott. He jumped on terms with the others, he showed a good pace, and he was tried with the blinkers too, so that probably explained why he showed so much pace. Nice to see Nishal Dihab back in the irons. We know how good of a track worker rider he is, so very good to see Senol's guest and Nishal Dihab putting out decent work. Carlos Mamba, he finished 7th to Danger Rock on his debut back in May early on this year. He's back after 3 months, and he trialed really well with the blinkers. He jumped out on terms and he followed the leader, but wasn't able to do much ground on him at the end. He's got nice South African form, this horse. He ran second to he did beat actually Vasco Street Tractor. He ran second to Senadle and third to the very classy One World. Concerning Daredevil Aviator, he's still a maiden in 6 starts for 1 place. He raced mostly in Durban over 1,200 meters, but has gone up to the mile. He didn't jump well, and he showed early pace with the blinkers. When Selik asked him to stretch, he couldn't go with Senol's guest actually, and he went on to finish 3rd in this trial. Sandy Sport, he was very slow to begin last time out. He jumped a lot better this time, but Kersey Ramsamy restrained him quickly after he jumped, and he wasn't asked to do much. If he jumps well on race days, he's a promising little horse, this Sandy Sport.
Yeah, all right. Well, you mentioned Nishal Tia there. I see you got a lot of the credit for Flying Arrow winning.
Yes.
Inquiry into the improved running.
Yeah, and they said that Tia asked them to run him with the pacifiers, which worked to perfection.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been around for a long time, Nishal Tia. I remember when I first came here many years ago. He was a track rider then, and he's got a lot of experience, and you can't buy experience. And nice to see Nishal Tia back in the irons. And let's hope we see him back in the winner's box as well. Never mind just on the sand track. Right, talking about sand track, sand work. Sorry, before we get there, I'll beg your pardon. We want to talk about Coolhart's gallop. He galloped on the track yesterday, did 2 laps. Apparently Derek David reported that he was very, very happy with his gallop. So obviously over whatever issue he had last time, it was the Derby, wasn't it, if I'm not mistaken? And when Darrell Holland rode him, reported to be pulling up with an irregular heartbeat. But he went to Floreal. Apparently he was breaking down the stable and throwing off jockeys left, right and centre. So he's obviously overcome his problem. The big question now is, from what it seems, it looks like they're going to be aiming him for the Maiden Cup. Yeah,
that's right, and I think he is qualified for it. So as per Derek David yesterday morning, they are going for the Maiden Cup with him.
Okay, big question mark on his stamina, 2,400. Will he stay the 2-4?
We don't have much of an idea of that. I think he's by philanthropists. Do the philanthropists stay?
Yeah, they do. Well, a lot of them have. A lot of them do. So I don't know. It remains to be seen. Cool at heart. The good thing is, the main thing is he's over all the, I mean, whatever sort of issues because it was worrying, because he really is a top horse, and I thought it was quite a good gallop. Derek David was jumping up and down as usual, and he was pretty happy with the gallop as well. So nice to see him over his problems, and I suppose, I mean, if he deserves his place in the maiden, then good for them, good for the stable, good for all the connections, and it'll be nice to see him take part in the big feature race on the 1st of September. Right, sandwork. The first horse I want to talk about, we got 5 each. The first horse I want to talk about is Rob's Jewel, my big boy. I really love this horse, and once again he put up an excellent display on the sand track. Terrific run to Barrack Street last time in a 990, and he seemed to pull up sound after that race, which is very, very encouraging. He carried top weight of 61 last time. He will be carrying 58.5 in this benchmark 61. But he's taken Barrack Street again. But obviously there will be a turnaround in the weights. He's going to probably be 2.5 kilos. I can't remember exactly what Barrack Street got for that last win, if it was 5 pounds or 6 pounds or 2.5 kilos or 3 kilos. But obviously Rob's Jewel is going to be a lot better off in the weights this time. I don't think his ideal distance is a 990, but he's run some good races over the 990. So just nice to see him sound and well, and I'm looking forward to seeing Rob's Jewel run on Saturday. Right, we'll stay with that stable. We want to talk about Bye Bye Rocket.
Yeah, absolutely love this horse. He's a gorgeous animal. He's had the 2 runs this season, and he's shown promise in both start, but he's still very much a big baby. Even yesterday in his work, Manuel Nunes had to get him 1 or 2 smacks in the final stretch just to educate him. That was a very nice educational gallop, I thought, so that's why I chose him. Listen, he should be on his peak form now, because this is going to be his 3rd run. He's entered on Saturday in the 3rd race over 990 for a benchmark of 41, and I do believe he should be too strong in a benchmark of 41 for them.
Okay, all right, that's Bye Bye Rocket. Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of Rob's Jewel, Bye Bye Rocket. And I agree with what Shaheel says. He's still a big baby, learning the ropes, but he could be just too good for them on Saturday. Right, a horse that's been catching my eye lately is Lucky at Last, and only 2 runs this year. Both runs were pretty decent behind 2 good horses. Last time he ran well in a 36. He got 2.5 lengths behind Mr. Hardy, and we all know Mr. Hardy's decent. He went to the front, and he only really faded that last 75 meters. This week he's in a 1600, 50 meters shorter, and he's in a 31. So it's a division lower, 50 meters short. I think that's going to be in his favor, and I'm expecting a big run from this horse, Lucky at Last, on Saturday in that benchmark 31. So let's keep an eye on him. Let's see how he draws, and we'll wait for that card to come out. But I really like the way that this horse has been working. 2 good runs this season. He looks like he's peaked now, and I'm expecting a big race from him on Saturday. Shaheel, superstitious?
Yeah, changed horse this season, already 3 wins. He'll be looking for the 4th one probably this week. He's also entered in that same race as Bye Rocket, but I do think the Rocket will have too many guns for him. But he worked very nicely alongside another horse, Edge of the Sun, which I did mention last week. So keep an eye on these 2 horses from the Studial stable, Superstitious and Edge of the Sun.
All right, there we go. That's superstitious. Then Vasco Street Tractor, if I'm not mistaken, he could be in the same race as Superstitious and Barrack. I'm not 100% sure, but Vasco Street Tractor, he was probably a victim of the second run syndrome last time. It was such a cracking debut when he finished just under a length behind Edge of the Sun in that 990. It was a terrific run, and I think a lot of us thought that he'd be unbeatable his next start, but unfortunately he did fluff his lines. He's entered in 2 events on Saturday. I personally would like to see him back in the 990 where he ran 3rd, and even though it looks like a tough race with some good horses, and we were just talking about the horses that are in that race, but Vasco Street Tractor, if he reproduces that debut of his, he must be a big runner there as well. But I see he is entered in a 1450 as well, so it remains to be seen how he goes. Right, then one of the another horse that I've also got a soft spot for. I see you like the way he worked. Baritone, he's in the feature race.
I did. He hasn't been seen since the Barbe, where he was a bit disappointing. He didn't show his usual turn of foot, where he finished 9th to White River. He has been offered a little break, and he looks much better now that he's back to Portly. A nice work alongside Star of Zeus, which he easily had the better of yesterday morning. The classy son of Trippy, he can bounce back probably next time out. He's entered this week in the Hinterland Cup, but I reckon the likes of Roll the Knight and the other horses are going to have the weight advantage, because Barrington is obviously going to carry top weight of 61 kg there.
Yeah, poor Barrington, always shouldering that top weight, and well, he deserves it, because he's a decent horse. He's won some good races here, and he gets on so well with Cedric Sejourne. I wouldn't write him off. Barrington, he is he is the classy horse, and obviously there are some young contenders coming up like Rule the Knight and Walt Tag, but Barrington, never write him off. He's a decent horse, Barrington. Right, down to the Gajada stable, and I thought I'd talk about the first race. It's a 020 1850, and the horse that I really like in that race is Alhamd. He's really improved since he's been put over the 1850. He's had his last 2 runs have been in 1850. Both of them have been in 025. So now he drops down to 020 in a 1850, and I think that that's going to be ideal for Alhamd. Like I said, 2 very good runs, slightly weaker on Saturday. He could possibly pull off his first win. He's never won. He never won in South Africa, never won here, but he is getting closer and closer to that first win, and I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls it off on Saturday in that 020 1850. I like the way he worked yesterday, and sometimes we got to show you some of the weak horses as well, because it's not just about the best horses. He will be in that first race of 020. Could maybe kick off a good day's racing with Alhamd on Saturday. Right, you wanted to talk about Rock on Geordies. That's your second last horse, Rock on Geordies.
That's right. He finished off really strongly last time when he ended half a length behind In Your Dreams, who was a runaway winner. He looks to be in good form after a good gallop on his own and the Jamil Hossein yesterday morning. He still has more potential in the locker, this horse, by the way he's been working. He's entered in race 4, 1450 in a benchmark of 46. So let's see how Rock on Geordies goes this Saturday.
Okay, great. And then the last horse I want to talk about is Harlan County from the Jean-Michel stable. I've always held this horse in high esteem. Not a bad effort last time after a long layoff. He went to the front. He just tied up, just got a little bit tired in the straight. It was a decent run. In my opinion, he's above average, and he seems to be over his problem that he had early on in the season. He just had that one run early on the season where he finished distance last, and that comeback run wasn't a bad race. And he's down in class this week. He's in a benchmark 46. In my opinion, a distance that will suit him a lot better as well. I liked his work, and I'm expecting a big run from Harlan County. I can remember last year when we made him a value bet, and but he was heavily backed that day, and he won a good race with Dennis Sufel. So I think he's quite a decent horse. He's run second behind Surcharge, yes, and yeah, he's a good horse, this Harlan County. So let's keep an eye on him. And then to finish off the morning, Barrack Street, he's going to be taking on Rob's Duel once again.
He's unbeaten in 3 starts over the 990. He's really taken well to the Mauritian 990 and the sprint division. We're very happy that he's found his form and his ability of a 2-year-old that we were speaking of before he made his debut out here. He's probably a potential superstar for the sprint divisions out here in Mauritius. He'll be looking for 4 in a row, still to keep his unbeaten record this week in race 5, benchmark 61.990. Last week we couldn't do the Al Mariachi versus Woltag. Do you want to do the Rob's Jewel versus Barrack Street this week?
Listen, I'm a big fan of Rob Shul, and obviously he's got the turnover as well. Let's have a look when the book comes out. We'll have a little side bet. But getting back to Barrack Street, I remember speaking to Pierre Stradom, rode him in South Africa, told me he was so unsound there. He was actually scared when he cantered down, which doesn't take a lot to scare Pierre Stradom. But Pierre said that he's so much more sounder, he's striding out so much better here in Mauritius. So obviously that is the trick as far as Barrack Street is concerned. Right, that is our Wednesday show. Remember, we will be back on Friday with our On the Mark show, where we're going to be going through the card with you. Hopefully we can find a couple of winners. It's been tough racing the last couple of weeks, has to be said, and hopefully on Friday we'll help you find a couple of winners. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you on Friday. Goodbye.